Full. The Chicago Sting in their first year in the MISL continue to wreak havoc with opponents' defenses, scoring 241 goals in only 38 games. They have their eyes set on the top spot in the East and the arsenal on the bench to do it. The Cleveland Force are not too shy when it comes to scoring either. 4 players on the squad have scored 20 goals or more so far this season. They can pop them in. The goal judges could be busy tonight. Stay tuned. The Chicago Sting and the Cleveland Force bring their offensive show to USA next. The Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio, the USA Network brings you the major indoor soccer league. Tonight, a special edition Eastern encounter as the Chicago Sting take on the Cleveland Force. Tonight's game is brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Mobil 1, the oil that saves you gas and more. By Toyota, who reminds you that it's a good feeling to buckle up for safety. And by Levi's, jeans, cords, and shirts for quality and style you can count on. South of Cleveland at the famed Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio. And they're celebrating St. Patrick's Day 2 days early here tonight with green beer and so forth. And who are we to ruin their party? So we're chipping in with green flowers, and at great expense, USA Network has made sure that the artificial turf here tonight is green. Good evening, everybody. I'm Al Troutwig, along with Kyle Rowe, Jr. We have 2 of the top offensive teams in the league going at it tonight with a lot at stake in the Eastern Division, especially for Chicago. They trail Cleveland by a game and a half. Chicago has been doing it all year offensively, Kyle. Who are the players that we want to keep an eye on?
Well, Al, since you mentioned the greenness, there are a lot of teams around the league that would like to have these records that these 2 teams have, and to have a couple of players that the Chicago Sting have. The player that didn't get much playing time in the MISL All-Star game, Pato Marhetic, left the All-Star situation in Kansas City very bitter because Pato felt that he didn't get enough playing time. We see Marhetic there, the man in the right place at the right time. He's mercurial, he's exciting. He is, for a lot of people, an odds-on favorite for perhaps second runner-up in the MVP. Alongside of him, number 13, Tasso Koutsoukas. He's on a 5-game goal-scoring streak. Koutsoukas there scoring that goal is a player who scored 7 goals in the last 5 games. I believe he also has 7 game-winning goals for this team, and Koutsoukas is a good player.
And a very flexible team that have proved themselves outdoors and indoors as well, and always exciting to watch with lots of talent. The Cleveland Force, a strange season. They started out 12-1, and then they started playing the powerhouses of the Eastern Division. And against Baltimore, Chicago, and New York, they are 0-8. And if they want to finish in first place, that is something that they'll have to straighten out. And certainly they have the talent to do that.
Well, when you talk about the Cleveland Force, probably their biggest addition this year has been Kai Hoskeby. Kai Hoskeby, who is a former star in the North American Soccer League outdoors and in. Kai Hoskeby plays the low post position, and Hoskeby's the kind of player, he's a specialist. He takes a beating, but he also gives a beating as well. He averages more than a goal a game. He's this season's 8th leading scorer in the MISL. Alongside him is number 25, Keith Purvey, that long-legged speedster who has relinquished the Cleveland goal-scoring leadership to Craig Allen. But for Keith Purvey, with 4 goals against Los Angeles and 3 against Green Bay earlier this week, he seems to be back on track.
Well, we're looking forward to an offensive show, and usually when we look forward to something, the exact opposite happens. We'll see tonight when we return live to the Richfield Coliseum for kickoff on the USA Cable Network. It's the Cleveland Force and the Chicago Sting. Stay tuned. The Eastern Division could be changing as a result of the Eastern Division. In goal, the 23-year-old Portuguese goalkeeper for Chicago, Victor Nogueira, who comes in with a goals against average of 4.87 and a record of 8-9. 200 feet away on the artificial surface in the net for the Cleveland Force is Chris Vaccaro. He is not the one in the blue robe. Chris is an American. He attended the University of Baltimore. He has a goals against mark of 55.38 and a record of 14-6. Earlier this year, Kyle, he had a great experience.
Al, he became only one of 3 goalkeepers in MISL history to have this happen at the Kansas Coliseum. It's at the Wichita Wings against the Cleveland Force. Vaccaro with the save finds no one to pass to, throws the ball just before the red line midfield. The ball races into the goal despite the efforts of Norman Piper. At the other end of the field, Chris Vaccaro was congratulated by his teammates, and Vaccaro became only the 3rd goalkeeper in MISL history to score a goal, only the 2nd to use his hands to score such a goal.
We are underway. And out from Michael Kaham. Rips it around, the boards in front. Over and it's in. at 1-0.
Defensive play, and Keith Murphy with the header to Vic Davidson on the far side for Vic Davidson. His 21st goal in the year. The assist, as we said, to Keith Murphy just 37 seconds into tonight's game.
The free kick. Hoskeby back for Natshoff, plays the soft rebound. Natshoff out for James. Hoskeby in front, missing wide was Craig Allen. Now it's in. Craig Allen.
Scores his 40th goal. He missed an outstanding opportunity. There's a good pass inside from Hoskeby. There's the miss. Allen very upset, but kept his head up, and Hoskeby got it back to him a second time. And so for Craig Allen from Kai Hoskeby, second goal of the game for Cleveland. 40th on the year for Craig Allen. He's the Cleveland force.
Davidson does not get off scot-free. He loses the ball. Back for Peter. It's in the net, and Chicago's on the scoreboard. Peter, one of the quickest, hardest shots in all of American soccer.
Sounding lack of applause here at Richfield.
You've noticed that.
As Ingo Peter goes against Michael Kaham. Kaham will be on the inside. And Kaham is beaten number 2. As well as Trevor Dawkins. The shot splitting both defenders.
13:59 was the time. Chicago back to within 1. Peter's 22nd on the year. We're inside the last minute of the first quarter of tonight's game. Ricardo Alonso for Chicago. Vic Davidson breaks up the play. Here's Brett Hall, a player I love to watch. He's constantly buzzing around, and with a name like the Chicago Sting, it's in the net. A weird bounce, and Chicago ties the game.
Brett Hall, that's only his 5th goal on the year. Let's see him go in the corner. I thought he had made a bad pass to himself initially, and he'll probably be unassisted as he took the pass in the corner. He tries to follow it up, is not there, but it mishits off of Davidson, I believe, and there's Brett Hall with trying to pass it. It goes off the defender, Trevor Dawkins, and goes into the goal. So the shot, as there are no defensive goals, no own goals in indoor soccer. Brett Hall, the last player to kick it, and indeed it went off the boards against Trevor Dawkins.
Off with the player who performed the best over the past week in the Major Indoor Soccer League.
After scoring 7 goals and 7 assists this past week and leading the Memphis Americans to 3 wins, Stan Stomekovic has been chosen MISL Star Selection of the Week by the Professional Soccer Reporters Association. Breaking the 100-point mark Sunday, March the 6th in a game against Pittsburgh, Stan scored 2 goals and 4 assists to lead the Americans to a 7-4 win. Then on Thursday, March the 10th, Stan scored 2 goals and 3 assists in the Americans' 7-6 overtime victory over the Phoenix Inferno. That evening, Stan also broke the league record for assists in a season, scoring his 61st. The previous record of 60 had been set last season by Steve Jungle. Stan continued his magic during the final game of the week, scoring all 3 goals for the Americans in this 3-2 victory over the St. Louis Steamers. That win extended the Americans' winning streak to 3, their longest of the 82-83 season. Stan Stomekovic, the MISL Star Selection of the Week.
And Kyle, we now move over to take a look at the top scorers in the Major Indoor Soccer League. And Stan, as you were just talking about him, is leading in that category, 52 and 61, the highest numbers in the league. Steve Jungle right behind him, though. Steve probably hasn't given up hope of catching him. Stan Terlecki of Pittsburgh, Karl-Heinz Granitza, and Pato Marhedek, both of whom we're seeing tonight, round out the top 5.
And those people charged with the responsibility of stopping all those high-powered scores, the goalkeepers. And naturally, the team that is tops in the MISL has a top goalkeeper as well. Keith Van Aaron, 4.11, 19 and 6 in his record. The New York duo of Shep Messian and Zoltan Toth, second, leading that New York defense that has allowed the fewest goals in the MISL this year. And rounding out the top 5, Slobo Ilievsky and Alan Mayer.
And some little tidbits from around the league. We're talking, of course, about miscellaneous. The first item, Shep takes some flack. Shep Messing has recently returned to the New York Arrows lineup after being sidelined a few weeks with a bruised kidney. Shep is now playing with a flak jacket he received from New York Jets quarterback Richard Todd. By the way, Shep is the only one of 22 five-year MISL players to play for only one team.
And as long as the music plays, the players try to keep on dancing to the beat of the MISL's challenging schedule. And how difficult is it to play day in, day out in the MISL? Well, of the 319 players who have performed this year, only 30, less than 10%, have been able to answer the bell for every round of MISL action.
In 3 cities in the MISL, they're talking about a team turnaround. Leading the way this year are the Kansas City Comets, who have turned a 10-25 mark into a 20-15 record. Cleveland, you're seeing them tonight, turned a 15-20 record into their best season ever. So far, 22-13. Phoenix, 13-25 last year, 19-19 this year. Great going for those 3 teams.
And East or West, well, he's still the best. And despite the fact that Steve Jungle may not repeat as league scoring champion, the Golden Bay Star reached another milestone last Saturday, scoring his 600th career point. And how good has Steve been? Well, his nearest all-time point challenger, Fred Gugurev, has 333 total points, just a little over half of Jungle's total.
And so that is some of what's happening around the 14-team Major Indoor Soccer League.